AI has taken the world by storm. So ChatGPT came out, I think, at the very end of November, and we're in the first week of January 2023. And it was a big deal because like 1 million users in like 5 days like signed up for this thing. And initially my stance was to be a purist, like I don't need to use AI, like, because it doesn't make sense for somebody who has spent the better part of the last decade learning how to do copywriting, learning persuasion, learning how to influence, learning how to write words that get people to feel things, and to be able to punch in a couple of words, prompts, if you will, to an AI generator, and to have it just spit out something that looks pretty good, sounds pretty good, all within a matter of seconds, can be very scary. And so anyway, I've changed my position on AI. I think that I'm going to lean into AI, and here's why. The thing about artificial intelligence is, I could be a purist about it, like the Amish, where it's like they are righteously indignant about any type of technology. But how would that help me? And how would that help me be competitive? How would that help me be innovative? And I don't think that it would. And so I see the same way that we have cell phones, like in this modern age of the 21st century, the cell phone has been ubiquitous for productivity, connecting with people on social media, videos. I mean, it's just exploded. And if you take a cell phone away from somebody, their effectiveness really just goes away because they've used the cell phone. Like, if you have a question, you just go to Google and you Google the answer. I think that AI is going to replace even Google. And I heard that there was like a red alert meeting, all hands red alert, red flag meeting called by Google, because they're scared that AI is going to make Google searches obsolete. Isn't that interesting? So anyway, how have I been using AI for marketing? Because that's kind of the juice here, right? What are the practical applications of this? I just got myself a Midjourney subscription. If you're not familiar, Midjourney is a form of AI photography. I actually learned that it's called Synthography, which is kind of interesting. Same way that, when cameras first came out, people who painted portraits, they really felt like portraits had the human touch, had the human element to it, and that taking a picture with a camera was too cold. So interesting that photography to write with light, now synthography to write with AI prompts, I guess. So very interesting there. But what I just did was I took some time playing around with creating pirate images on Midjourney. And I actually, my very first pirate image that was created, I think I knocked it out the park. Like my first crack at AI, I was like, oh my God, I now know why this stuff is so powerful, because it looks so dope. It looks so dope. And so I spent, the better part of the last, probably about 2 hours in the last week, just putting in prompts into Midjourney and getting back pirate images. So I have all of these pirate images that I think are pretty cool. Some of them, if you've played around with AI, you know that it could be a little wonky. But I've got pirate ships. I've got pirate captains. I've got pirates that are in front of like laptops. And I also, created like a pirate logo, right? I gave it the prompt like gold and blue, pirate skull and crossbones, but with a sword and a fountain pen, because that's, if you look at the logo for this podcast, that's what I wanted to have created. So anyway, I posted all of this, it generated all of this and it looked really awesome. But then I'm like, how do I use this? So I just created a story, or at least a list of stories. Is that what you call it? A list of stories? A few stories using these AI prompts. And I think that this is really interesting because, I really lean heavily into the pirate shtick, but then also like I used to go to Photoshop, or I would go to Google and I would try to find an image that I felt matched what I wanted, the feeling that I had for the post that I was making at the time. And so I had to rely on things that were already created. But now this allows me to create something that is closer to what I'm seeing inside my head, and then to come up with variations of things that are possibly even better than I had inside my head. So I just posted, I made a text post, basically making a soft offer for a new program that I'm doing. Didn't have any intention of using it in the stories, but I've been like, all right, let me include more stories. Because there's a ton of people that watch stories. I have not given stories the credit and the sense of influence that it actually has. So I used the AI generated images, and then I just superimposed the copy that I had wrote for my text post onto these images. And if you're watching, on YouTube, then I'm going to share what the post looks like right now. So isn't this interesting, right? Like, here's the copy, and then here's the badass like pirate, like AI generated image. And it just looks baller. It looks money, and it's like, here's the first one. Here's like where I'm kind of, testing out the fountain pen. I told it to use gold and dark blue, and it just like, it took it and ran with it. And I was like, man. And I guess just the lighting, all this just looks really, really awesome too. But here's the copy, right? I guess the copy could be a little bit better as far as placement is concerned. Well, look at this. This old pirate with like a little lantern behind him. The light is lighting his face. He's got an eye patch on, but he's in front of like a MacBook Pro. It looks like he's got, like a dongle and some cords in front of him, but he just looks dope. And so if you've got a particular like shtick, or if you have something that you really lean into, like, I don't know, maybe you're the pizza guy and people think of you and they think of pizza. You could probably create all kinds of things associated with pizza. If you really like penguins, you could create a whole bunch of things like penguins. If you like that nice fantasy art, you could have fantasy art inside of your stories, and it could help to enhance your marketing. So, like this one was a pirate captain, right? Like, it's got the sun behind him. I like, this is just amazing. And then the last story here has a pirate ship with a whole bunch of birds flying around it. It looks like it's a sunrise. And it's very simple. Just, will you join us? DM gold. Like, this, I think, has the ability to just completely change the way that I do my stories, but then also just change the way that I think people are able to communicate what's effectively inside their head. Are there people that are not going to bother with this at all? Yeah. Same way that there's people that just don't bother with stories. Same way that people don't bother with photography. Same way that people don't bother with video. But then there's people that do. And the people that do and the people that learn these AI prompts, they're going to get very good, and they're going to innovate, and they're going to create offshoots of, I swear there's probably going to be people that could be hired that know how to talk to the AI, that know how to like do the proper prompts. Because in the same way that you would hire a copywriter, same way that you would hire a coach to show you how to do marketing, I think there's going to be people that you hire to speak to the system, to speak to the machine. And how is that different than coding? Like, a coder knows how to speak the language of code. And if you know how to speak the language of how to influence the AI to create a particular image that you want, well, then I think that that's going to be super powerful too. So the barrier to entry for art and creativity is like, they've been blasted down. And so I guess the only, there is no excuse anymore to not have your own marketing out there, to not have your own brand out there, and to even create moods, to create themes that people associate you with. So very interesting to see where the marketing is going, to see where things are. I'm very curious what's going to happen in just a year. We'll see. But what this means is that for all those people who have the ideas and the imagination, really, your imagination really is the only limit. Then they're going to be able to take advantage of it. But then there's always going to be a segment of people who don't want to lean into it, that don't want to pursue the imagination. And, you know, they're very predictably exactly probably in the same place that they've been at for the last year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So this is how I've been using AI inside of my business. Maybe this will help you. So I'll see you on the next one. We'll dock the episode here. I'll talk to you then. Savvy.